call our meeting to order. So, we have members present. Claire, could you call the roll?
Glenn Erickson. Lynn?
Yeah, present.
Okay. Dan Haggerty? Is Dan? Okay. Barbara Matthews?
I don't see Dan yet.
Okay. Dan Haggerty? I'm sorry. Barbara Mathewson?
Here.
Dave Olson?
Here.
Michelle Weil? I think Michelle's here.
Here we go, Michelle. Yeah.
Here.
Okay. And I'm here. We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. For the first item on our agenda, we have our Board of Supervisors report. And Carrie.
Thanks, Len. Good evening, everyone, Midcoast Community Council and members of the community. I'm Carrie Dahlman, and I'm here on behalf of Supervisor Don Horsley's office at San Mateo County. I have a few updates this evening, and I'll start with the wildfires currently burning in San Mateo and Santa Cruz counties. One of the latest incident updates from this morning from CAL FIRE, the fire is currently over 80,000 acres and is 19% contained. It looks like over 500 structures have been destroyed. The majority of those are located in Santa Cruz County. And according to the updates, if the weather maintains and does not get any worse, it's expected that repopulation efforts could be happening soon. I know we have a lot of evacuation zones in our county. And I also have some useful links where you can find more information. You can also sign up for email incident updates with CAL FIRE, and I'll paste those links in the chat box. They send out about 1 or 2 emails per day. And if you would like to donate to the fire relief effort, it's been recommended that you make a donation to Puente or NorCal Red Cross. So I'll paste those links down below as well. And then next up is on the census for 2020. There's just over 1 month left of the census count. As of August 20, San Mateo County is holding strong with a self-response rate of 76.1%. We have already surpassed our census final response rate from 2010. That was 73.2%. So from the previous census, we have already surpassed that response rate. And lastly, just a quick update about the COVID-19 response, which continues in San Mateo County. One thing that the county is working on is improving the turnaround on test results. I know test results have often taken about maybe 5, 7 or more days to come in. So we're working on tightening up that timeline. And also the county is continuing to ramp up the efforts around contact tracing. So besides testing and then having some sort of a vaccine for COVID-19, contact tracing is really one of the big ways that we can help stop the spread of COVID-19. And the public health department has been training groups of people, actually myself included, to be in a temporary assignment as a contact tracer. So we will essentially interview individuals who have tested positive for COVID and then notify their close contacts with the goal of eliminating the spread of COVID-19. And through these interviews, we'll also be connecting people to resources so that they can isolate or quarantine effectively and for the time that is needed. And that also brings me to my last update is I wanted to introduce a new incoming member to Supervisor Horsley's office, and that is Lena. She's on the call with us. Hi, Lena.
Hi, thank you.
So I just wanted to introduce her to the Midcoast Council, to also members of the public, and let you know she will be starting with our team very soon, and she will be transitioning into working onto some of the items that I have been working on as well. So welcome, Lena, and that is all of my updates, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, question from Barbara. Just if you want to speak, raise your hand on the Zoom. Barbara? Barbara.
Carrie, I have the financial report to turn in, and usually I've taken it to Dawn's office and dropped it off there. Is the office open, or should I just mail it?
Yes, the office is open, and we do have staff members in the office occasionally, at least a couple times a week. So yeah, feel free to bring it in or mail it in, and we can take care of it through the office.
You want me to mail it to you or the county manager?
That's a great question. I would have to double check.
I'll mail it to you. I'll just mail it to your attention. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, Dan, next up. Oh, Claire, I'm sorry, Claire.
Yeah, Carrie, I just recently got an email from the city of Half Moon Bay saying that they're closing their beaches this weekend because of the fire. And I know there was some, confusion last weekend. And I was wondering if there's any way we can coordinate between Half Moon Bay, the county, and the state on that issue.
That is a great question. And I'd have to follow up on that and get back to you.
If some decision gets, yeah.
I believe that the county and the state have agreed to close their beaches as well as Pacifica this weekend.
Thank you, Harvey.
Okay. Is that it, Michelle or Claire?
That's all.
Okay, next is Dan. Dan Haggerty.
Yeah, thank you, Carrie. I just wanted to say that I think most of us have known for a long time the eucalyptus danger. Carrie, does the supervisor have anything to report on my request for working to start getting some of these, starting a program to get the eucalyptus and the fire danger from the eucalyptus, many of which is along the highway, which would impact our evacuation route, removed and then replanted with appropriate trees?
Yeah, great question, Dan. I don't have an informational update or report out at this time, but I want to let you know we are following up on that. And in addition to your question, I know there have been various projects at county parks around fire fuel reduction. So it is top of mind and a priority. But your specific question about the eucalyptus, we are looking into it.
Okay, well, I'll just keep open collaboration attitude. I'd love to work with you on that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Dan. Michelle?
Yeah, Carrie, thanks for the report. I just had a question. I know earlier on the census data, although San Mateo County had a really high response rate, our areas in the Midcoast were actually quite low. Do you have an update on that and whether the response rate for the Midcoast has improved or whether there's still a lot of work to do?
I was just looking at that.
As of last week, lower Midcoast was 68.
Sorry.
66, and the South Coast was still 50.
Okay. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks.
Claire, do you have
Sorry.
another?
No, I would just add that I would give a shout out to the community of Montera because they have had a really big increase in their response rate over 2010. 2010, they finished with a 54% response rate, and now they're over 70% in Montera. So that's really great to see.
Yes, and the census teams are going around. I've run into several in El Granada.
Okay. Thanks. Claire, did you have another question?
Just an add-on, I do think we are having something coming up in a while. I think about fire issues, and I don't think there are simple. I don't think. Okay, here's what I want to say. I don't think there are simple solutions. I don't think that addressing just one thing is going to do it. And I'm looking forward to our session when we do talk about it. In other words, there are many facets to what Dan's talking about. We can talk about it later.
Yeah, I agree.
Great. As a follow-up on that, Carrie, last season, there was a major push in funding by the governor special that resulted in efforts in Quarry Park. Has that been continued into this year, or was that a one-time funding?
You know, I'd have to double check with Nicholas on that because I think it was earlier this year that I was hearing about fire fuel reduction projects at Quarry Park. So I would think it's continued, but I'd like to double check.
Okay. And Dan, just a clarification question to you. Were you thinking more of the eucalyptus in Quarry Park or ones in El Granada on the avenues?
He looks like he stepped away, but I think we are talking about Pacifica as well as El Granada.
Sorry, Len, what was your question?
Oh, when you were asking about eucalyptus fire reduction, thinking more specifically about Quarry Park or about the eucalyptus trees in the avenues of El Granada?
Len, I'm talking about everywhere.
Okay.
Far beyond just what you said. In 2012, when the fire chief was going out, he came to the MCC meeting and gave a report. Lisa Ketchum was at that meeting, I believe. And he basically, it was the first time I was told that this whole area is a tinderbox ready to explode with all of these eucalyptus trees. And yes, a little bit has been done, but clearly not enough. I spent a good portion of my evening Sunday night with the dry lightning report or forecasts. You know, starting to run through my mind a scenario of what if, you know, this eucalyptus grove that's not too far from my house catches on fire and explodes and starts spreading embers to catch the other groves on fire. And then I started realizing, you know what, every day when I travel through Highway 1, passing the North Portal coming down into Lindemar, that whole section of Highway 1 has eucalyptus growing wildly on both sides. That is our northern escape route from the area. That would, you know, likely be closed and impassable. And then I started looking at 92. Same thing. There's many areas of 92 that has enormous amount of eucalyptus trees. You have Frenchman's Creek, the whatever that you know, the little park there on the west side of Frenchman's Creek. Another Harvey, I'm glad you're on the here listening, but that's another area that could affect the artery of Highway 1. So yeah, it's it's a very it's much broader than although yes, Quarry Park and the boulevards are also included.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Let's see. Claire, you're, but I think question.
Okay, you can hear me?
Yeah. Your hand is still up, so did you have more?
I just didn't, I have a lot to say and I just don't want to get into a big debate right now, but I have been doing some reading about forestry management and all that kind of thing and about eucalyptus, and it's just not that simple. I don't want us to come up with some sort of overreaching opinion about eucalyptus before we've had a chance to really study the whole thing, or somebody has a chance to study the whole thing.
Okay.
You can make it worse
Sounds
by
like you're
putting all
talking about that more as a future
Yeah.
item. Okay. Okay. That's all. Thank you very much, Carrie. We have one public officer in attendance, Harvey. Oh, I'm sorry, Lisa Ketchum. Lisa.
Hi, thanks. Lisa Ketchum, County Planning Commissioner. I have two updates for you. The first regards the Moss Beach Chevron missing landscape buffer along the highway frontage, which was removed and paved over without permits in 2011. This, just some background, this longstanding issue has been pressed by the MCC since 2014. Last March, the Planning Commission considered an after the fact CDP for a much smaller replacement barrier proposed by the applicant. At that hearing, the commission deemed the replacement barrier inadequate and continued the item for the applicant to return, hopefully within 3 months, with revisions to address the MCC concerns, basically to reduce the highway access opening to a maximum 60 feet wide and to restore the full 819 square feet of landscape area. At the August 12th Planning Commission meeting, I pointed out that 5 months had passed and the applicant seemed to have no motivation to submit a revised project. So at this morning's Planning Commission meeting, Director Monowitz reported that yesterday he himself had a conversation with the applicant after a conversation with the property owner and made it clear he wants a revised plan with a landscape planter as big as before and preferably larger, and that it should be located on site as Caltrans prefers. And he added that the county wants a future sidewalk and bike lane in the right of way in that area. My second item is an update I gave to the Planning Commission and staff this morning on the coastal development permit for a bluff top house on Arbor Lane in Moss Beach, approved 3-2 by the Planning Commission in December 2018. The county's approval was appealed to the Coastal Commission, and that hearing was held August 14th. The same coastal hazard issues raised by the Midcoast Community Council were the subject of the appeal by Committee for Green Foothills: inadequate bluff top setbacks for the minimum 50-year design life and use of deep drill pier foundation for stability against bluff retreat. The Coastal Commission found that the county approved project raised substantial issue regarding coastal hazards and shoreline armoring. Coastal Commission staff's recommendation for a revised by the commission. This is I have a select list of 4 key new conditions to keep in mind for future projects. Update the survey to show the current location of the bluff edge to reflect recent episodic erosion. That was something that the county was unwilling to require. Increase the bluff edge setback by 20 feet for a total of 96 feet on a setback. Prohibit deep piers and tieback foundation, which itself constitutes a form of shoreline armoring. And apply the deed restricted no future armoring provisions to the adjacent steep bank of the Dean Creek Ravine, which falls under the LCP definition of coastal bluff. The Coastal Commission staff report is detailed, informative reading on evaluating bluff top setbacks, which could provide insight to avoid future appeals and long project delays. It can be found with the Coastal Commission agenda item 8 for the hearing date August 14, 2020. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Lisa. Chris Johnson.
Thank you, Len. So I am reporting as liaison between the MCC and the San Mateo County Parks with regard to the proposed pump track project in Quarry Park. And we had a meeting of the focus group last Wednesday. And so I wanted to give the MCC an update on that meeting. It was the first meeting of what is kind of loosely being called a focus group. And you'll understand the focus in a couple of minutes here. So even with the COVID and the fires, Parks Director Nicholas Calderon reaffirmed his commitment that he made in January at the MCC to build this pump track, and he acknowledged the delays. But then I wanted to give you the updated proposed completion date would be June of 2021. So this project is still underway. We still have a timeline for design and outreach and plans and bid award and whatnot, with a hopefully completed construction in June of 2021. There's about a $100,000 budget for this, but that's loose right now. The money is not, sitting on the table at County Parks right now, but and nor has any expenses been incurred yet, but that's the approximate budget they're looking at. This total area for the pump track will be less than an acre. There are some construction drawings, which I will send, Len. I will send an email to you. I will send those to you in an email so you can post them on the MCC website. We looked at 3 different concept designs. So a flow design, a skills design, and a hybrid design. Flow being really concentrating on basic skills and kind of the speed, working up speed with the pumping skills. Skills would be the track, in addition to little bumps for pumping, there would be obstacles that people could work on to improve their skills when they go out on the trail. And the hybrid track would have obviously a combination of those things. Now, what the committee discussed was a couple things with regard to the 3 plans. One, the committee agreed that the purpose of this focus group is to kind of distill down to a single general design idea. So of these 3 major categories, pick a category and then kind of come up with the rough sketches of the design. Once we're down to one design, then bring it to the public for public comment and to comment on that design. It's important to understand that the decision of where to place the pump track and that it will exist has already been made. And so that is not really up for discussion in the focus group or in public comment in future meetings. This is not a usage discussion, it's a design discussion, and that's how it will be going forward. Let's see, our next meeting is going to be around the week of October 1st. It was going to scheduled for September 24th, but there's an MCC meeting, I believe, the day before that, and there's a Harbor Commission meeting, I believe, that day. So it was decided to kick the pump track meeting to the next week. I think that's the broad strokes, and if you have any questions, I can answer those for you now.
Okay. If anybody has a question for Chris, would you raise your hand on Zoom? Okay, Harvey Rollback. Oh, I'm sorry. Dan, did you have a question for Chris?
Yeah, Chris, I've been following a little bit, but I'd like to know in general, are there plans to put a fence around? I hope not. Is it gonna, is the preliminary designs and scope, spirit of the idea is to keep it low, low impact on just kind of like an area where of the park that you can ride your bike, similar to as I grew up in Golden Gate Park, where everything was open, and if you wanted to be in that space, you can be in that space, and just kind of limited structures, I guess, is my concern.
Good question, Dan. So it's my understanding that there will be picnic benches spaced out within this, if you can imagine a less than an acre space. So the entire pump track complex and its associated facilities would be within that 1 acre. So within that 1 acre, we'd have the pump track and then some socially distanced picnic tables. That's as far as I heard of, infrastructure. It's not clear to me whether there will be a fence around this, or what I would like to see and what I've seen at other pump tracks. The track itself has banked edges and turns, and those can serve as kind of vegetated swales or unvegetated swales, basically, to delineate that. We did hear some comments from people in the focus group that they had heard from residents, and I've heard from a couple residents too, that as they walk past there, they don't want bikes coming off the track and bumping into them and dogs running onto the track. And so did sound like there was some discussion about a fence. I know personally, and this is just personally, I would like to not see a fence. I don't think there needs to be. If you look at other pump tracks, they are elevated structures that have these banked turns and stuff. I think that would work fine. One thing I wanted to add, though, an idea that they're having for this in general design is a single large track, whether that's the skills track, the flow track, or the hybrid, a single large track that's basically a continuous circle or some design that continues around. And then a couple of different tracks inside of that with the picnic tables inside this outer track. So to your question, Dan, to me, that outer track seems to function as a boundary, a fence, and then you've got the facilities inside of that. It's not been fully decided yet, but that's an important point, and I'll bring that back to the focus group to decide what are we going to do about a separating barrier, I guess.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Next, Harvey Rohrbach.
Hi, thanks, Len. Harvey Rohrbach, representing the City Council, Half Moon Bay. I have a few updates. The first one is that today the city manager issued an emergency declaration, which allows us to get reimbursed from FEMA for some of the work that we're doing at the evacuation center at the Half Moon Bay High School. And more significantly, we are going to close the beaches and the parking lots this weekend. And I believe, as I said, I think that's in cooperation with the county and the state beaches. That's done as a health measure and also because of the fires. Labor Day is still under discussion. We have had a important planning commission meeting on August 11th to discuss our land use plan for the local coastal program. That meeting lasted more than 4 hours. We had more than 60 participants. So that was very well attended for a Zoom meeting. Lots and lots of useful comments. The next scheduled study session about the land use plan will be September 8th. And right now it's scheduled to have the first city council ratification or discussion about that meeting, about the local land use plan on September 29th. And there'll be another meeting, at least one more meeting in October. The ultimate plan is after the city council, after the planning commission ratifies it, city council will ratify it. It goes to the coastal commission for their ratification. So we hope that can be done by the end of the year, but that's optimistic. Our city council meeting on the 18th was more than 5 hours long. I'll give you a couple of highlights. It'd be not easy to discuss just highlights, but we decided to give $200,000 out of our funds for affordable housing for rental assistance to both Coastside Hope and St. Vincent's. We really think that that's important because we're very afraid about a wave of evictions, which looks like it's going to be coming soon. And we're trying to do whatever we can to help people stay in their rental housing. We also approved a Black Lives Matters mural. Exactly where it's going to go near City Hall is under discussion, but it's going to happen. And I'm very happy to report that. Lastly, the elections during the filing period, for the first time ever, we have had a Latino vying for a city council seat in a district. So that's another hopeful sign that things are really going for the better. I'll be glad to answer any questions anybody has.
Okay, Dan, you have a question for Harvey? Okay, Barbara Mathewson.
Harvey, how do you plan on enforcing the beach closures?
I wish I could give you better news, but even our press releases said that we are not really able to have law enforcement do what it did on July 4th. And we are relying on the goodwill of people. We'll have a few city staff at the entrances, but on July 4th, it really took most of the city staff to enforce the closure of the beaches and parking lots. And frankly, although it would be nice, we just can't do it. So we'll have signs up, we'll have a few city staff there, but it's not gonna be easy.
Okay, thank you. I think that's all the questions for Harvey. I believe there are no other public who want to. The next item on the agenda is for public comment for items not on our agenda. Anyone wants to speak on that topic? Dave Olson.
Yeah, just a really quick announcement. The 7 o'clock CAL FIRE briefing, it's now 21% contained. They lifted the evacuation for UC Santa Cruz. As Carrie said earlier, I think they'll probably start lifting others over the next few days. They have now completed 55% of the area damage evaluation. So that's good news. And then I personally wanted, and I'm sure almost everybody wants to, thank all of the firefighters and other emergency responders and everybody who has helped the evacuees.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I don't think there items for public comment. Any other announcements from anyone on the board or anyone in the public? Okay. The next on the agenda, consent agenda, we have the minutes for the August 12th meeting for approval. Do I have a motion for approval?
I will so move.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Thank you. Could you call the roll?
Len,
Yes, Dan.
it seems to me that you kind of went through really quickly about the off. I didn't hear you make an announcement to offer anybody that wants to make a public comment and instruct them how to raise their hand.
I felt I did that at the start. I'll bring it up again if you felt it was overlooked. If there's anyone here who would like to make a comment on the agenda, raise your hand in Zoom. Okay, good enough. Okay.
And just to note, Len, just to note, I'm
Here's
hearing,
Dan, excuse me.
I don't know if anybody else is hearing audio trouble from you, but I'm hearing everybody else well, but your audio is having problems. I'm not be able to hear
Oh,
everything
good.
you're saying.
Okay, thank you. What I'll try to do perhaps is dial in by phone. That may help. Claire, did you have?
Yes, just a really brief announcement, and I think it may have been covered at the last meeting, I don't recall. But the they had a groundbreaking for a big wave recently, and they will be starting to build at that location.
Okay. Thank you. To the consent agenda, we had a motion for it. Could you call roll for the approval of the consent item?
Len Erickson,
Yes.
Dan Haggerty,
Yes.
Barbara Mathewson,
Yes.
Dave Olson,
Yes.
Michelle Weil,
Yes.
and I vote yes. It's 6-0.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next we move to our regular agenda. I do take account of what Dan mentioned in terms of whether my audio is clear. So just a quick check in terms of just the last sentence or two. Did that come through broken up?
No, it was broken up.
It was broken up.
Breaking up.
It's not just the audio.
Okay. Say again.
It's not just the audio, you're also freezing, at least for me.
Well, let's see.
Yes, I'm observing the same thing.
Okay. So I'm going to
It's
just take a
manageable.
minute to try to come in back. What's that?
I can still tell what's going on.
Well, since I'm talking in the next one, I'm going to just take a minute to come in by phone and see if that helps.
Claire, can I just do a quick sound check? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Thank you.
This seems like a good time to say, if anybody doesn't know how to raise your hand, it's on the participants panel for most versions of Zoom. It's on the left side bottom. And if that doesn't work for you, you can't find it, you can use chat. We monitor the chat as well.
Thank you for doing that, Dave. I have a little external audio. Is it? Well, let me know if there's any sound problems, feedback, or anything at all. Thank you.
Len, you're on mute. I'm not sure. We can't hear you.
Yeah, if you're on the phone, you need to do *6.
I'm not sure what happened with that one.
We can
I
hear you
have
now.
gone back to Zoom. Can people hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we'll go with this. So I'm just going to review 6 items that relate to State Route 1 and Caltrans, just a quick status. The first was the Virginia crosswalk, which has been a concern for an extended time. Supervisor Horsley has been having his concerns about that and some related items. So he had requested a meeting with Caltrans about that. At the same time, Caltrans brought a proposal to have a crosswalk at Miramar Road. And at the same time, because of the bridge closure on the coastal trail, Public Works was working on an encroachment. So those items came up at the last meeting. We did write a of support, and I spoke with Quabo, with DPW, who has said since his last meeting with the MCC, he and his staff have met with Caltrans to discuss their permit request, taken those comments in, and made some additional modifications to their proposal, and expects to talk in with Caltrans about that this Friday. As far as the postponed meetings on the crosswalk, that was rolled into a meeting primarily led by Supervisor Horsley, having a meeting with Caltrans, and that's been scheduled as a meeting between the county and Caltrans on September 9th. There will be members of Don's staff, I think other county staff members from the MCC. When the original proposal came up for this meeting that was crosswalk centric, I asked Dave Olson and Michelle to attend because of their knowledge and proximity to those crossings. And since this has been moved to a more broader meeting, I'm attending that as well. So that's a meeting scheduled for the afternoon of September 9th. And we should be able to report about that at our next MCC meeting.
Excuse me,
Gray
Len.
Whale Cove has been a continuing. Yes.
Can we back up a little bit? You mentioned that Supervisor Horsley had some concerns. Can you elaborate? What are his concerns with the Virginia crosswalk?
There were several. I think he shared with those before. Everything from how it was brought forward, its total current status, how it relates to other cross efforts, several things like. Okay, I think we've
Any specific
ourselves.
remedy? Specific remedy?
What's that?
Are there any
this
specific remedies?
I don't have any particular details on that point because the meeting has been evolved into a meeting of discussion between Caltrans and the county on that date with several items that may be on the agenda. They haven't published the final agenda for.
Well, hopefully Carrie can keep us posted with any concerns, any initial concerns. And second, you said, did I hear you say something about a letter of support for the Miramar Drive crosswalk? Maybe I misunderstood you. I'm sorry. You said, I thought you said something about support for the Miramar Drive crosswalk. Did I hear that correctly?
No, it was a letter of support passed at the last meeting, and it dealt primarily with the bridge.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was, yeah, the detour, yeah, the pedestrian detour around the bridge. Yes, I'm with you now. Thank you.
Okay. Great Whale Cove remains an item of concern between the county and Caltrans. And in addition, Caltrans, we received from Kerry Caltrans flyer regarding a traffic operations project that they're working on, which has a neg deck and is a formal project to be for review. In that request, I think where Dave is going to show that on the screen, they had asked whether the public, any members of the public had interest in having a virtual open house meeting. And if so, we would need to place a request with them. I feel that's a meeting that the MCC would be interested in. I have not yet been able to speak with anyone who can give me more information about it, but I did want at this meeting for the council to confirm that it would be interested in requesting a virtual open house meeting.
Absolutely. Yes.
So that's the last, I think, Caltrans item I had just for the quick update.
Can we
If
post the
there's any
details?
question-
I'm sorry, Dave, can we post the detail? I didn't have a hyperlink to see that what you mentioned about the.
It is posted on the MCC website. The link is right there.
I looked for it today.
This is the link right here.
Yeah, I know, but do we have to actually type that? It's not a hyperlink. Do we have to?
It is a hyperlink.
Every character, pardon?
It is a hyperlink.
No, I don't think it was on mine. I tried it.
Okay, well,
I was able to copy and paste it, Dan.
Yeah, as long I'm going to check now. You're saying that it's on the MCC website, and I can view it right now. I think it would be great, since we brought this up this far, to show a little bit more about the details, because this little flyer doesn't really tell much. It's hard to read.
The document goes into great detail. Basically, they're doing the RFC readers for the bridge toll things, and they're putting in some pullouts for maintenance. And that's pretty much it.
And some information signs.
And some information signs. Thank you, Claire. I keep forgetting that.
And this is actually attached to the agenda. It's right there.
I think what Dan was referring to is the link to further, more detailed information.
Well,
Yeah, I want to see a detailed drawing of what this sign looks like. This changeable message sign. How big is it? I'd like to see some physical.
Actually, Dan, a lot of that is in the description.
Right, I have not been able to see that yet.
Well, I mailed it to you earlier after you asked for it.
I looked. I'll check again, but I'm just saying I haven't seen it yet. And since we've gone this far, I think you should give a little bit more information to the public.
Well, everybody's seen it. It's not attached to the agenda.
If anybody cannot find the document on the council or on the public, or anybody watching this video in the future, contact me and I will send you the document. DaveOlsonMCC@gmail.com.
Okay, I'm hearing that there's no real summary allowed right now for a little bit more detail of what.
It would be a very long item, Dan.
Okay, well, sometimes you can shorten things up and summarize, but I understand.
The purpose for this goes on the agenda to see whether it would like to request having a virtual open house meeting on this particular project effort by Caltrans.
Do you want a motion?
And, Dave, you've looked at it some. You may want to share some initial thoughts. Okay. Well, let's see. We have hands raised first, but just I'm on the council. Claire, were you going to say something?
I was going to ask if you wanted a motion to that effect.
Yes.
I move that we request that Caltrans hold a virtual open house meeting on its traffic operational systems improvement project.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Okay, open for discussion now. Let's go to the council first, and I'm going to call on you first, Dave.
Nothing to say.
Okay. Claire?
I look forward to the meeting. When the tunnel was closed a year and a half ago, we requested that they have some way that they can monitor the situation on the highway and some way to provide signage to let people know if there's something unusual going on. It sounds to me as though they're responding to what we asked for. And I'm devil's in the details, but I'm pleased with it so far. And I'd love to talk about it.
Okay, thank you. Barb, anything further?
I'm going to tag along with what Claire said. I'm looking forward to hearing it. I'm reading it right now.
Okay, thank you. Dan?
Yes, I've got concerns if people haven't already picked up on that. I want to know. I don't think we want to populate our highway with a bunch of electronic signs. You know, if something is functional, it's going to be good for the community with low impact and low visual impact, but still works. You know, then that's fine. I will be looking forward to talking more, learning more about specifically what they're
Okay.
proposing to do.
So
And
that sounds like you're
how
supportive.
wide that is. Sorry.
That sounds like you're speaking in support of having such an open house.
Absolutely.
Michelle? Michelle, any comment?
Yeah, I'm glad that this is not happening the same way that, you know, that the crosswalk in Moss Beach happened. So I'm looking forward to the open house as well, or the public meeting.
Okay, very good. Then I will follow up, and as I put in the request, if I get more information, I'll share that with the council. Okay.
Just so
Wait,
I
wait.
have a question
I was
on,
gonna say, we haven't voted and the public hasn't been heard yet either.
Correct. Thank you. Therefore, from the public. So Chris Johnson, comment? Question.
Well, so cynically, like, okay, I'm glad you guys are gonna have a motion about this virtual meeting for these pullouts, basically. But I'm not impressed with that project, and frankly, I feel like there's many other priorities, and I feel like Caltrans is going to do it anyways. I want to have a public meeting about these crosswalks. I protested vociferously back in August when this magical crosswalk appeared in Moss Beach. And one of the reasons I was protesting is because it went against the process that we've been going through for almost a decade. And I asked the MCC and the county to push back and get some answers. Why did this appear? Who was it that called into Kevin Mullen's office, and how does he have this direct pipeline? And now suddenly, and there was not enough pushback. The questions were not answered. And now here we are, less than a year later, and boom, another magical crosswalk is appearing, while the next agenda item is connect the coast side, and this has nothing to do with that. County was at the last MCC meeting saying, we don't know anything about this. Is complete news to us, which coincidentally is exactly what Caltrans said to me and Kevin Mullen's office said to me when I questioned them of why wasn't this part of our 10-year plan on safe crossings and connect the coast side? Oh, we don't know anything about that. We weren't contacted. So I have to say to county, what's the deal on the communication? I mean, why is this happening again? And who is pushing back? Why are these magical crosswalks appearing? And is Caltrans doing their required engineering studies and traffic studies and whatnot? Or is it some wealthy individual calling into Kevin Mullen's office and getting these things built? Somebody needs to answer this question. And I've asked this many times. And here we have a second thing occurring again at the same time as we do not have one sign, one light, one notification of any kind on Highway 1 or the direct roads leading to it about this unsafe detour. And I'm kind of getting tired of everybody patting themselves on the back about, we've got a detour, we've got to, we're talking to Caltrans. Caltrans is having a meeting on Friday. It's been weeks, not to mention the 2 years they knew that this bridge was going to fail. And we still have children and families and out of towners walking on Highway 1 in both directions on a narrow shoulder at a place where the sight line is terrible, and we don't have one single thing telling anybody that that's happening. So until those issues are addressed, I could care less about these pullouts and this virtual meeting and whatever. Also, we were going to have a public meeting about this crosswalk today that got canceled, and the reason was given on the MCC website because they're going to work on this detour thing. But now I hear that the meeting that was supposed to be about the crosswalk is not going to be a public meeting. It'll be reported back to us, and it's going to be a broader, more general meeting about other topics, meaning this whole crosswalk thing is going to get lost in the dust. So as if you could not tell, to kind of paraphrase what Dan was saying about his, yeah, I am incensed about this, as I have been since August, and we still have no answers. Now we have another crosswalk, and we have an unsafe detour situation that has not one piece of messaging about it on the roadway. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next is Space Odyssey.
Yes, I actually have comments that are very similar to what Chris Johnson just said, and that is that Miramar crosswalk. And I was going to ask, the Caltrans County meeting that Don Horsley was arranging, it sounds like that was not going to be open to the public, the one on September 9th. And so I have a lot of concerns about a crosswalk going in at that Miramar Drive. Thank you.
May I ask Space Odyssey if that's how she wants to be identified in the minutes?
Yes, please.
Okay.
You should have a name. I think it's, under a normal meeting, you would fill out a speaker slip and you would put your name. So I'm sorry.
And
Am I
under
wrong?
state law, they're allowed to be anonymous.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Did you have anything more to say on the item, Dan?
Yes. Okay. So I just did a very quick, hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I just did a quick look at that large document, and it looks to me like, so they're proposing at least 5 changeable message signs. I don't know how high they will be, but they're of this physical size of 5 feet by 12 feet. People, can we imagine? They're talking about turning this whole area like an urban environment and destroying the rural feel. That's absurd. So yes, I'm very, very interested in looking. And I did not see any details about I didn't read through all the text, of course not. But this whole idea about this Midwest guardrail, can somebody please tell me what the hell they're talking about? I think what they're talking about.
That's the standard post and rail guardrail.
Yeah, steel and concrete. Spreading 5 feet of concrete on the side of the road like they've been doing on Highway 92.
Concrete, steel and wood post, like there is on 92.
Okay, hold on. I've been paying attention to guardrails, and sometimes they're wood and sometimes they're steel posts. But it seems to me that always now, instead of having these wood posts drilled into the ground, they're now having concrete spread out underneath. Yes.
And we
just trying to get clarity.
To Caltrans to have the open house, which is information. We won't have it till we get the open house, is what I'm saying.
Well, no, you know what? I think that the public, the community, and myself deserves a little information before we go into that. Instead of this common thing of getting blasted with information, and half the community doesn't even know, not aware of what's going on. They're too busy with their life to participate with the meeting. I think we need to really give some preliminary information to the community right now. And I have not seen a detail of this Midwest guardrail. Dave says that it's just regular old style wood posts in the ground with a steel. They talked about replace. I think I saw somewhere where they're going to replace. Why replace something that's working perfectly fine now?
Not what they said, Dan. And I Googled it. It's easy to do.
Dan? Dan?
Yes.
Can we
Oh,
share
well,
on
Claire,
this?
thank you very much. But I'm looking for. I want to see some details from
Dan?
Caltrans. I don't want to Google anything. I want to see it all in one package,
Dan,
so that we all know that we're
Okay.
what we're up against. Yes, Len.
Thank you, Dan. Okay, Dolores Silva. Dolores?
There we go. Yes, I agree with Chris Johnson. I think that that this meeting on the 9th being kind of private is not really what we're looking for. And this crosswalk that we have here in Moss Beach didn't adhere to anything that the Midcoast Community Council or all these meetings in the past have pointed out about what the community needs. I don't know what they're responding to, but we need a little bit more information. And I think that, we did a Public Records Act request of Caltrans to find out about this Virginia Street crosswalk. And it was a very unsatisfactory answer. They kind of just said eventually, oh, we don't really, all these documents we got referred to communications. I think his name is Jeff Weiss. And they would not, but we didn't see what he was saying. And when we asked for that, they would not share it with us. I mean, what is this about? Why is it so secretive? What's going on here? I'm totally in agreement with Chris that whatever's going on here needs to be more transparent. And I don't understand why this meeting on the 9th is private, but it makes you suspicious. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to be clear, this is a meeting the supervisor organized with the Caltrans director and invited some members of the council to go. And it's not as an open meeting.
Right.
But we'll report from it. Marcia Yates?
I want to also
Marcia?
say, since Caltrans tried to set up a public meeting, there will almost certainly still be a public meeting. I think the goal of the 9th September meeting was to get things straight between the county and Caltrans rather than arguing it out in front of the public.
Okay. Marcia Yates?
Yes, Marcia Yates, Moss Beach. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. I just chiming in. I have to agree with Chris and Dolores and Space Odyssey. All these crosswalks or these crosswalk issues really need to become more transparent, because that crosswalk is like a total danger. And you hardly see anybody using it because it's dangerous. We need to reduce the speed limit. We need to have Caltrans. If Caltrans is just going to pop things in on us, no telling what they can do. Anyway, yes, I have to agree with Chris and Dolores and Space Odyssey. We need more transparency and we need to know whys.
Thank you. Claire?
Yeah, I have some concerns about a meeting that we are currently discussing whether we want to ask for, because I do think we need to work as a community to solve these problems. But I'm almost embarrassed to have us working with state agencies where we basically yell and accuse people of things. I don't mean to say that people shouldn't express themselves, but I think we should act as people who are negotiating and expressing the community's concerns in a calm and constructive way. So if we have a meeting, that's what I would like to see happen. If we can't make that happen, I'd almost rather not have a meeting.
Thank you. Greg?
I would echo Claire's sentiment, but I would still support what everyone else is saying, Chris, Marcia, Dolores. Just for the record, I think it's a significant issue that these kinds of things keep popping up without proper process and review. And I would go one step further and say Chris Johnson would make a heck of an MCC member.
Okay, is your hand up again, Dan, or is it still up?
Yes, I'm agreeing with the others that it just really doesn't smell well to have this meeting private. It sounds like, you know, this is the meeting right now. I'm against the crosswalk there. I think that it's just a really bad location on the coast side for a crosswalk, being that it's the curve. I don't know the level of people that, you know, they also have the existing pedestrian undercross there that works very well. I've walked under it. I like it a lot. It's very functional. I just don't know that this is a priority area. And I'm really upset, yes, that there is, you know, a movement to kind of have a private meeting. So I don't know what more to say, other than I agree that it should be public, and I don't know why it was canceled today. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Chris?
Excellent. Just real quick, I wanted to respond to what Claire had said about, yes, the MCC has a position in the community in relationship with county that it cannot be a, you know, a rabid dog, you know, barking at every problem, because then it loses credibility. However, my feeling, having been on the MCC, understanding that relationship, but now seeing these things that are transpiring, the detour with no signage on Highway 1 is, I don't know how County Council has let that happen. The liability risk there seems way greater than the bridge falling down, somebody getting hit on Highway 1. But my point to Claire and the MCC is that works if you're being treated with respect. But I don't believe that the community and the MCC is being treated with respect on these issues and being dealt with in good faith when we are not getting answers. Somebody knows what the answer is, but all I'm hearing is county doesn't know anything that Caltrans is doing. Oh, what? And Caltrans doesn't know anything about what county's doing. Why not? Why not? Who is responsible at county for communicating with Caltrans? Because the next issue on the agenda is Connect the Coast Side. How am I to have any faith that this is going to work when it involves roads managed by Caltrans and City of Half Moon Bay, two other agencies' jurisdictions? That's two now, not just one. How is this communication going to work between those three jurisdictions when we can't even get county and Caltrans to get on the same page? So I don't believe we're being dealt with in good faith. And for that reason, I believe the volume needs to be turned up a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you. Dolores Silva, you're back.
Yes, Claire, I understand your point because sometimes things get a little carried away. However, in this situation, even Joe LeClaire was referring to this Virginia crosswalk as a Baja crosswalk. I mean, nobody recognizes it as a good solution. And why don't we get better than that? I mean, I'm sorry. I think that I just don't know that we have any reliable way to get our message across. It seems like, I mean, the county is not that responsive to us. I mean, this whole Connect the Coast Side thing has me is a very disappointing effort. And these crosswalks, really don't relate at all to all the work that people have done for years and years. So maybe it is time that we have a real upfront discussion with not just Caltrans, but others as well. So yes, people are irate, and I think we have reason to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Claire?
Just in response to what you just said, Dolores, I was one of the first people, I was probably maybe the second person around here that knew about that crosswalk. I'm totally opposed to that, to what happened there. And I think you're right, we do have a lot of things that need to be addressed, and we're not getting the recognition we need. And I'm all for finding whatever we need to do to get our points of view put across. What I do not want to see happen is yelling, screaming, accusations especially about things that are available to us if we just looked for them. And starting to communicate means that we have to communicate clearly ourselves. So I'm just worried about the tone, and worried that we're going to be dismissed as not having the very valid points that we need to bring across if we don't present them properly.
Thanks, Claire. Dave?
Yeah, so I just want to say,
Dave Olson?
yeah, I just want to say that the county has tried very hard to find out what happened at Virginia, to try and get things changed process-wise, to get signs up there and other things. Caltrans, unfortunately, does not feel like they are beholden to the county to answer questions. And they have, quote unquote, lost all of the chain of communication that led to that crosswalk, which is why the public records request did not turn up anything. So does that make sense? No. But let's not dump this all on the county. Dawn and Public Works and others have tried. We've tried. And in Caltrans' favor, minor point, they did at least schedule a public meeting prior to actually putting the crosswalk in Barada. So that is a step in the right direction. So let's not dump on them for taking a step in the right direction. That's it.
Thank you. Dan?
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up with what Claire's comment was, that I agree. Really, our meetings should be held respectfully. I do not remember anybody yelling, so I don't know what that's about. I think that opinions should be shared, and I think that you're going to find some community members with a little passion about what they're talking about. If that's interpreted as yelling, I don't know how to get around that. I certainly would not want to encourage passionate people about about protecting the coast side to be said they can't express their views. So I'm just not sure. I don't remember anybody yelling, and I don't really I agree with Claire. Nobody should yell.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Okay, just to underscore what Dave was explaining, I don't believe our supervisor for our district, Don Horsley, is necessarily any happier with Caltrans right now than we are on issues like this. And this is a meeting he's worked for some time to have to speak with the Caltrans director. And I don't think we want to be there jumping up and down, but we are there to express firm opinions. So that's how we're going into this meeting. That's all I have on Caltrans and excuse me, SR1. So close this item of the agenda.
Wait. We still have a motion on the table.
Oh, didn't we vote? guess okay, we will have the vote on the amendment on the motion on the table. This is to ask for the open house. Claire, could you call the roll?
Glenn, one more. Can I just have a hand up? Just one more quick question. Apparently, a lot of people in this meeting right now have thoroughly reviewed the documents which I just looked at. Can we confirm that there's going to be only 5 foot by 12-foot changeable message signs proposed? Can anybody confirm that right now?
Dan, the point, no, Dan, the point of this is to get information from them and ask those kinds of questions. We have not been in a position to ask that in advance. We have the document to review.
Well,
So this
I
is our
disagree. I disagree. I think the point here is to give information to the community. And
I know
in an easy way. People have a lot of things going on in their lives. Not everybody has the time to read through this enormous document that was sent out.
Okay.
So I'm just asking if others have, listen, if nobody else read the document and can confirm this, that's fine. Just say that. But if others have said, yes, I did look through the document completely, and yes, I did see only 5 foot by 12-foot electronic changeable message signs proposed. That's all I'm looking for.
Yes.
Dan, I'm not.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, clerical.
Okay. Len,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Dave,
No.
Michelle.
Yes.
I'm going to vote no. So 4 to
Okay.
2.
What was the total, Claire?
4 in favor, 2 against.
No. Who was the other against? I didn't catch that.
Me and Dave.
Okay, good enough. Okay, so the motion passes. Next, we have Connect the Coast Side. There has not been time on my part to do any further work on the study session materials. And as I've looked what the county is bringing forward, because they'll be on our agenda at this meeting to give their summary, I'm interested in both looking at that and trying to understand how our comments can be brought together to be informative for feedback to date and on what they're presenting. So that's all I have on this item myself. The county has been releasing in pieces things that are there. Carrie, Carrie, are you still here?
Yep.
Yep. Could you summarize? I think the Connect the Coast Side group has released a few things over the last weeks that are reading about what they've done so far. Is that correct?
Yes, one of those materials was an FAQ document. It had a number of questions that were asked but not totally answered at the public meetings that were held virtually. So that is on the planning department's webpage, and I can also paste the link in the chat. So we have the FAQ document, and then we are still working on the meeting summary report, and that's what would be brought to the MCC at the September 9 meeting.
Okay, thank you. So that's all I have on this item this time. Does anybody, some people
I just have a quick
expressed
question.
Yes.
Who wrote this document, the response to Connect the Coastside virtual meetings? Where'd that come from?
That was well, we had both comments at our study session that were collected. So that's what it's referring to.
Who wrote this response?
So that there has, the response were the comments that we collected in our study session, haven't been further written up or amplified.
So did you write this?
No, I said, going into our study session on the 29th,
I
there were
got
several documents, okay?
Mhm.
Then the public commented, those are reflected in our minutes.
Mhm.
That's all we have put together at this point.
But we just got something with question that Carrie was just referring to a document and Barbara's asking who wrote it.
And I think you put the link to that on the MCC website, Len. So it's the 24, 28 page response. Is that the one you're asking about, Barbara?
Yes, there's nobody taking responsibility for it. It just says response to the question. So I'm wondering who wrote it.
It's coming out of the county planning department. Somebody reporting to Joe.
Thank you.
Okay. So we will come back to connect the COSI in 2 weeks. Okay. The next item on the agenda is the Midcoast newsletter. Carrie, Michelle, and I have met on this a couple of times and put some comments in. I think currently there is a draft that we've looked at that is visible in the format that it'll go out to the public, which is with MailChimp, but we haven't yet sort of finished that review. We were looking to do it, and it was originally scheduled to come out at the first of the month, but we back on that for was that we felt it really emphasizes a lot transportation related issues, and so we didn't have it come out the information put forward by the county in their update next week. And if we have a chance to do any additional work ourselves on our responses, that it could reflect that as well. Dan is a member of the team and I think has been more concerned about issue and process. And so I expect when we have our next meeting, he can look at the draft as it exists to date to give some feedback, what he sees relative to areas where he has concerns.
Thank you.
That's the update.
Just quickly on that, Dan, you
so-
actually have access to the document still. It's the same one we reviewed at the first meeting. I'll make sure I'll forward it to you so you have it, but you can check that out. And it's still in draft format, as Len mentioned.
Thank you. Yes, I've been very busy with a lot of things going on in my life right now. I have been trying to stay on top of my emails, but I did not see anything really alerting me. I will look again, and thank you for sending it, offering to send it again, Michelle. Thank you very much.
So
No
Dan,
problem.
while you're there, I think we'll be trying to meet either, these are during the day meetings we have, either on Friday or early next week. Do you know if your schedule permits you to join?
So, as the first meeting that I attended, I requested that it be at 4:30 p.m. or I don't know, I guess 4:30 is better. 4:15 is really tight that I could get to. So 4:30, yes.
Okay, so we'll see if we can work with that time on those days. And
Do you have a
get back to
specific?
you tomorrow.
Do you have a?
Not yet.
Okay, thank you.
I'm expecting it'll either be Friday or early next week.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Next item on the agenda is the candidates forum. This year there are 3 elections locally that are in the framework that we've looked at for our forums. One is for the MCC. And let me actually just put up a summary. Dave, could you show the document that I sent you?
Should be up.
Okay, let me see if I can
It's here.
see it here. Oh. Okay, so we have our own election, MCC, which is open. We have 4 candidates and 3 open positions. This year, school district and the Harbor District, we have district elections. So in the case of the Cabrillo School District, there are 2 of the 5 areas that will have the board member up for election. In one, area B, which is, we'll think of it as El Granada centric, there are 2 candidates. And the other, area D, is Alsace-Lorraine, where there are 3 candidates. And finally, the Harbor District, District 4, where there are 3 dates. So these are each would be subject of its own forum, one for the MCC, one for the Cabrillo School District, and one for the Harbor District. An issue came up on the school district, since those are 2 separate elections, if you will, whether there would be a single forum. And then the discussion with the League of Women Voters, we felt it would be best served as a single forum. I've had a chance to review that with one candidate, but I'm expecting that to be a single forum. I put down below the dates that are available for forums given to us by League of Women Voters. And I consider all of those as possible. None of those conflict with our own meetings. I don't know if anybody in looking at those dates has any concern about a date, but those are the dates we would be choosing from. What I did want to get is just a motion by the council to hold the candidate forums, just so we're on the record on that matter. Somebody to make a motion to that effect.
I'll make a motion that we hold a candidates forum for the election.
I'll second.
Thank you.
I would like to amend that, but perhaps we could discuss it a little bit first.
Sure. Okay, let's go ahead with the council first, and I will start with Claire.
I'm glad we're going to do this. I would weigh in favor of doing it as early as possible because early voting will be starting. I don't know when, sometime in October. And I'd like to do it before that starts, if possible.
5th
I
of
also don't see
ballots go out.
What? Did you
The
say
5th
something?
of October is when they mail the ballot.
Okay,
Yes,
so I'd
the
like
5th of October is when
okay.
the ballot is mailed.
So I would like to do it before that. I also don't see any point in having a forum regarding the Alsace-Lorraine area for the school board. So otherwise, I would like to see us do it with those provisos.
Let me speak to that because other people may want to comment. We've in prior years, we would have a forum for the Cabrillo District when it was open. All of these are in the Midcoast itself, and we're open to the Midcoast as a whole. Harvey, is someone who's a Half Moon Bay resident, do you have any thoughts on this?
I don't know that he's still
Did
here.
you hear my
Also,
question?
Lorraine is not in the Midcoast.
He's here. No, he's here.
I'm here. I'm just silent. I think the more forums, the better in general terms. It's not that complicated. And also, I agree with Claire. The ballots are going to be coming out the week of October 6th. So you don't want to have these forums after that. So I would suggest September.
Okay. Let's see. Dave, comment?
Well, Claire pretty much got everything I had. We should try very, very hard for everything in September. I don't feel really strongly about Area D for CUSD, but since it's outside the Midcoast, if it messed up any of the scheduling, I think we could easily drop it. And my amendment was going to be to the effect that we should have the forums in September.
Okay. Chris. Okay. Dan?
Yes, I agree. Early September. I think that in regards to area B and D, regardless of the districts, um, these candidates will have impact on all of the the community as far as school district routes. The whole coast side is the Cabrillo Unified School District. So I wouldn't want to cheat out the Midcoast community, even though the area D is outside of the Midcoast community.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Chris Johnson.
Thank you, Len. Sorry to bother everybody with me talking again, but thank you, MCC. In my opinion, candidate forums are one of the most important things that the MCC does. For example, last 2018, the only opportunity for coastside residents to hear from anybody running for Cabrillo Unified School District Board was at the MCC candidate forum. So without that, there would have been no public introduction to those people. So with regard to the question about Area D, Dan is exactly right. CUSD has schools in both City of Half Moon Bay and the Midcoast. And so therefore, this is where districting is just kind of silly, because this candidate from Area D is going to be making decisions that affect people in Montara as well as Alsace-Lorraine and Half Moon Bay. So absolutely, I want to see these candidates in a candidate forum, because that's the only place we're going to see it is at the MCC. And if we don't see it there, I don't know anything about these candidates. I want to see these candidates in person, especially given the issues that the school district is facing. So I want the best candidates possible. You guys are right on it. It has to be in September because of the mail-in ballots and early ballots. And I just want to say again, this is a critical function of the MCC. I think it was Dan, or maybe it was Harvey. The more forums, the better. People need to know about these candidates. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Chrislyn.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to let you know that the chamber is trying to coordinate with Brews and Views, as well as with the review for a candidate forum in early October. I think we were aiming for the 15th for MCC as well as the Harbor. So I think it would be fantastic if you guys were able to do it in September, and then we could follow you up in October. And I think that widens our reach of getting the latecomers that tend to not really pay attention until it gets closer to the November ballot. Thank you.
Okay, so this would be conducted in a Brews and Views meeting, if you will. Would Lenny be the person sort of leading the questions? And it will be a virtual meeting, I assume.
Yes, we're working out the details now, but kind of using the Brews and Views platform. And then, but yeah, we're just kind of figuring out the best way to do it virtually, whether it's a live forum with the help of PCTV, or if it's something a little bit more structured. But I think we were aiming for Thursday, the October 15th.
Okay, well, all the better if we can then get the September dates. Chrislyn. Dan.
Yeah, one last thought on the Area B and D, this Unified School District candidacy. It's important that we are all reminded, we all live in one big community and we have friends across the district lines. And so if, for example, if one family is, learning something from this candidate forum, we're going to talk as a community. So absolutely, do not delineate and keep Area D out, please. It would be a big mistake.
Very good. Space Odyssey.
Yes, just my suggestion, because maybe I misunderstood something earlier, but I trust that you would have a forum for the school district seats and then separate forms for the people applying for the MCC positions.
That's correct. They're considered separate forums.
Okay.
Okay, Claire?
I just wanted to ask Crystal and if they're also going to have something for the Half Moon Bay City Council.
Yes, we absolutely are.
Okay. And to clarify how many forums there are, traditionally, there's been a separate panel for each election, but you might have more than one panel on one night, which is what I expect we will do.
Okay. Thanks. Okay. Any other discussion on this? Not seeing it. Claire, could you call for a roll
Wait,
call?
I want to make a motion to amend the motion.
Go ahead, Dave.
To have the meetings in September.
Got it.
Second.
Is there a second?
I'm seconding it.
Okay.
So I guess we vote on the amendment first.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're voting on the amendment to include that the forum would be held in September. Len?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that's 6-0 on the amendment.
Okay. Could you roll over then to the main motion?
Okay, for the main motion that we have forums on the Harbor District, MCC, and School Board. Len?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that's 6-0.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. That closes our major agenda items. Next is council activity. Does anyone on the council want to speak to activities? Claire, you have your hand up.
Oh, that's from before.
Okay.
But
anyone on, go ahead.
no, it's fine.
Okay. On the council with any activity to report on. Okay. Seeing none then on our future agenda, as I noted, the other side will return for, yes? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Dan?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry. So I just wanted to report a little bit more detail in my experience walking under the and through the culvert at Miramar Drive. You know, it years ago I looked at it and it was looked kind of a little bit tricky, not it's a word, not impossible to get through there, but you know, your average person might not want to. But my last pass through there, which is about 2 weeks ago, it's very clear that the community, members of the community that live there, have improved it a little bit. Put up some boards to walk across, make it a little bit more of a smoother, approach. Yes, you have to kind of, you know, scratch down, tilt your neck a little bit, but I just wanted to say that, you know, it is so easy and safe to walk underneath there without, you know, worrying about getting hit by a car. Yes, it could be improved, but it is what it is. And clearly, from my experience there, you know, the community people are, you know, are using it. value it, identify the value of it. And was it the last meeting? I guess I heard that there were members of the city of Half Moon Bay that were actually outspoken about, hey, don't do anything, don't make any changes to what we have now, because we're using it. And it's a very safe way to get across the highway in that area. So I think that it should be well known that it's there, and that it's needed, it's functional, it serves its purpose, both as for water flow in the winter season, but in the dry season, it's a functional pedestrian underpass on the coast side.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Anyone else? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing. Me?
Claire?
Yeah.
Yes.
There has been some discussion about the standard of whether story poles should be required for new development. And I'm not ready to say right now that we need to look at that, but I think we may. So I'd like to keep an open slot for that if in case we need to discuss it.
Okay.
And I still would like to try to get the Zone Haven on our agenda from CAL FIRE.
Okay. Who coming for that? Would we in a particular person?
Pardon?
Would we invite a particular person for that
Yes.
meeting? Okay.
CAL FIRE.
Can you
okay.
put that together for a certain date?
Yeah. So Barb, then if we put that on for the second meeting in September, that would work for you?
Well, I hope so, but both the gentlemen that would be doing it are both at the fire. I would hope so, but I can't promise.
Well, why don't you check with them on that date?
Yeah, when I talked to them, this
Just-
fire hadn't happened and they were ready to do it whenever we wanted. And now, so I will contact them and try to get it for the second week in September.
No, the second meeting, that would be the 23rd.
The second meeting,
or
I'm sorry,
24th.
second meeting.
Yep, 23rd. Okay. Great. Anything else then? Okay.
Yes, I have something. So
okay, hold it. Claire, you just met Dan. Claire had her hand up first.
No, I've already talked.
Over there. Go ahead, Dan.
So just to be clear on the whole eucalyptus tree fire danger issue, are you planning to have a agenda item on that soon? Because we're just getting ready to walk into our normal fire season. What we have now is an unusual, an abnormal lightning fire situation. This is not our normal fire season. That is coming very soon. And I don't want anybody to underestimate the explosive power of the eucalyptus trees. I think it's very important that we have, it's already been stated in 2012 by the fire chief that we have an enormous fire danger regarding the eucalyptus trees. So,
Dan,
Dan,
let me just make a comment. You've spoken to it many times, I understand it. Or is what you're saying is you would like to work on creating such an agenda item? Agenda
yes,
happens when people on the council put effort in to do it.
I got the feeling from some of Claire's comments that there's already planning on talking about it. If it's not planned at all, yes, I think we need to have that as an agenda item. Yes.
Is that an agenda item you were also interested in working on there? What?
My comments were to the effect that I think just saying let's get rid of the eucalyptus is actually not a good idea. We need to look at it more carefully. I would be okay with having an agenda item that brought in some forestry experts and talked about it. But I'm not necessarily proposing that at the moment.
The county arborist would be an obvious person.
Well, I think the very first step is as a community to confirm that it is a fire danger. It is what it is, as an extreme fire danger situation. You know, Len, I really appreciate it if you would not mute me. That's all I'm saying. Step number one is to declare the eucalyptus and declare them what they really are. And Claire, if you think that you want to have a second opinion of some forestry experts, that's fine, sure. But I don't think that I think it's undeniable at this point that the eucalyptus population on the coast side is an extreme fire danger to the coast side.
What we're asking, Dan, is will you work on that agenda item?
Certainly.
You would need to put it together.
What? Nobody wants to help? Well, am I the only one that is concerned about the safety of the coast side in regards to fire danger?
When you develop an agenda item, somebody takes the lead. It's not like you automatically get a group of people that assemble themselves. So you have to assemble it.
Okay, well, I'm asking right now, is there anybody on the council that is interested and has a level of passion I have on this issue that's willing to work with me to develop the agenda item? Anyone?
I am, Dan, but I'm a lame duck. I've only got a handful of meetings left, so I don't know why. I don't think I could take it on. I don't see that I have enough time.
I'm shocked.
Hold it.
I'm shocked.
Dave?
Yeah.
Okay. Dan, what I've heard is you and Claire both have interest in contributing to this as an agenda item. So I'm asking the two of you to work with me on that agenda item.
I'm willing, yes.
Well, that means that you're taking the lead, Len.
No, as a chair, I'm trying to make sure it gets organized. I'm looking for you two to work.
I'm not going to do it. I cannot work with this framework.
You're not interested.
I'm interested, but we can do this offline.
It sounds like it'll be a solo event, Len.
I haven't heard that yet, but we'll take it up further.
Well, Dan, I'm happy to help you right now. I'm happy to help you through this if it can get on the agenda before the end of the year, but and now I'm just seeing that Zone Haven has crashed or failed, so I guess we won't be doing that. So maybe we can have Cal Fire come and talk to us about it. I don't know. I can talk to the chief and see what he says.
So it sounds like you have interest in fire issues, and it's going to take a little planning to figure out how we want to present it.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
I just wanted to say thank you, Barbara, for offering. You know, if you're willing, I'll accept that help. People, San Mateo County is burning right now. Okay, now is the time to start talking about this stuff. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you. Okay. I think with that said, can have a motion for adjournment.
Somebody has their hand up.
Yeah.
Somebody make a motion to adjourn. I think Claire did.
We have two hands up. We may as well try and get them.
Sorry, Greg.
I just wanted to mention that I did a survey of the fire hydrant pressure a couple of years ago, which I presented in the MCC. And for those of you who follow Montero Water and Sanitary District, I caused a little trouble about this issue at the last meeting. So I'm definitely interested in working on this. I may or may not get elected to the MCC, but if I am, I could take over from what Barbara is doing. And I have some information.
Hey, Greg, you're welcome to work with them on helping develop an agenda item now. You don't have to be council member to join that effort. So I'll take it you want to contribute. Good. Lucy Wicks.
Hi, thank you. Lucy Wicks, I'm a resident of El Granada. Wanted to follow up and make a suggestion as just a member of the public about the possibility of moving forward with this eucalyptus discussion and broadening the scope a bit to be able to really discuss maybe in a study session format or an informational session with the council. I think trying to blend what Councilmember Toutant, Claire, and Council Dan Haggerty have mentioned of before we step forward and declare as the situation with the eucalyptus and jump to an action, I think it would be helpful for the community to be able to be given a timely opportunity to educate the community about these trees, their origins, the ownership of liability, efforts in the past to be able to address them, and also learn a bit about the jurisdictional process of some of these clusters that we're seeing in the area. I think what I'm seeing from community commentary is that a lot of people have very strong feelings about it, but maybe we need a bit more education, broad strokes there from experts, whether those are arborists or the county itself, of being able to educate the community about just the existence of these trees in our community and steps that might be able to be taken. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that comment, Lucy. Dan, Claire, and Barbara, I think for all of you, the thought study session as opposed to a council meeting seems to have merit, but again, can explore it further.
Maybe that's not a bad idea. Let's invite the CAL FIRE to come to the council and present. I know they're busy, so maybe, but it's important. It's worth asking. Certainly, they don't want to have more work in front of them. So I think that they would be interested in presenting to the community the situation with the eucalyptus trees on the coast side as a threat. I have heard already in 2012 from one of the past fire chiefs that was extremely passionate. He might have yelled at the meeting. He said that this area is in extreme danger. So I would expect that the CAL FIRE, whoever will come to present, would echo the same message.
And I have my CERT graduation coming up in a couple of weeks, and I'll talk to the chief then and see what we can get him to come out, or have somebody from the department come out and talk to us. He seemed very agreeable to talk to us without any problem. So at least it'd be starting something.
That's great.
Okay. Are we adjourned now?
I think
we adjourn.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, council. Good job, MCC.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.